All right. Thank you everybody so much for taking time out of your schedule. I know that there are people with varying levels of power and internet. And so if people drop out, I understand. But thank you for taking time to be with us tonight. Like I said in my email, we're going to go over a lot of things that will help keep kids from getting disqualified and help us post the results quicker and more efficiently. If you could all do me a favor and make sure that you're on mute. I made this a meeting and not a webinar so that we could interact with each other, ask questions. And I know everyone, I wanted to see, make sure everyone's okay. And I like seeing everybody. So you can turn your camera off if you want to, keep it on. That's totally up to you. But if you could, please just make sure you're on mute. We have about almost 100 people on this call. So with everyone's background noise, that might get a little hairy. So let me start. Okay, so you should all see the PowerPoint. We're going to go through this pretty quickly. Actually, I'm going to take this down for just a second because the first thing that I want to go over with everybody is from the host packet that I sent out today. I'm not going to read this to you. It is like 12 pages long, but there's a couple things that I want everyone to see, to be made aware of. That is actually in policy. So, and I'll show you exactly where all this can be found on our website. So, like I said, this went out to all the hosts today. Actually, I think it went out to all the Meet admin. This went out to everybody. I think the more people that had this in their hands, the better. The first one is this administrative procedure right here. This is what says that you have to turn your Meet results into us as soon as possible. I understand not everyone has great Wi-Fi on a pool deck. Sometimes you have to wait till you get home. Sometimes it's 1 in the morning when you get home and you just want to go to sleep, and that's fine. We understand. But as soon as possible, preferably closer to the end of the Meet, we need your results so that Adele can start working through them, contact you if there are any issues, get them resolved, and get the results posted as quickly as we can. These two administrative procedures, everyone should be familiar with these by now. This is just saying that your district entries have to be done through HITECH, which Melissa will get into in a little bit. Advancement procedures, if you are new, I'll show you where you can find all of these. We do this year have 21 relay teams advancing from regionals to states, not districts to regionals. So districts to regionals is still 16. These are the NFHS rules. You can find these in the book that you should have access to. Meet entries, maximums, logo rules, Meet committee, which we'll also talk a little bit about. This is an actual NFHS rule and not just us saying that you need to get 5 of your friends together. Information about exception reports, which we'll also go over. And then diving, I'll talk a little bit more about this specifically once we get to the end when there's like open conversation. 5 judges is an actual NFHS rule, and I'm working to get a list of qualified coaches, not necessarily high school coaches. They may come from USA Diving. I'm working with someone named Olivia at USA Diving to get some resources for people that are short dive judges. Last year I had a Meet returned with 2 judges and 3 scores, and it was weird, and that math was weird to me. And I think our divers need more fair, consistent judging. So I'm working to get more resources for you, but just know that 5 judges is an NFHS rule. It's not like a guideline. This is just information for the hosts. Okay, so all of these administrative procedures, all these rules that we reference throughout the packets and throughout the season, when people email me and ask me where to find things, this is our FHSA website. And on the rules and publications tab, this first tab is our handbook. That's where you can find policies that apply to everyone. This is where you're going to find the Meet minimum requirement. Administrative procedures is more just specific to running a post-season Meet. That's where we found that rule about sending in results is in here in the administrative procedures. And then we have the sport manual, which is just swimming specific information. So again, this was on our FHSA website under member services. If you click on rules and publications, it takes you to this page. And that's where you can find all of our various rules, policies, procedures. What you won't find on here is the NFHS rulebook that comes through the NFHS app, which you need to download. Your athletic directors were sent login information for every coach that was in home campus at the time. Or it may have gone directly to the coach. I'm not sure how they do it yet or how they do it now. But you need to download the app and log on to the NFHS rules app to access the book. If you don't have access to that, if you were never sent an email with login credentials, that means you weren't in home campus in August, and that information was sent to your athletic director. So if you've never downloaded the rules app, probably a good idea to do so. And if you don't have credentials to log in, then check with your athletic director, because we provide a free copy of the book to every member school. Okay, so we're going to go back to the PowerPoint real quick. Okay. So that's just the host packet that went out to everybody today. So just some general information. None of this has changed. None of this is new. If you've seen this webinar before, this is all repeat information, but it's good to know. Suits and caps can only have one manufacturer logo. Okay. It can't exceed 2 1/4 square inches, and no dimension can be longer than 2 1/4 inches. So all the sides got to be the same length. Can't be wider or taller than 2 1/4 square inches. The FINA barcode or the check mark is not considered a logo, so that wouldn't count against an athlete if they have that FINA approved sticker or stamp on the back of their suit. Everyone has to wear one-piece suits. You may let them practice in a 2-piece suit, but when we get to the postseason, everybody's got to wear a 1-piece suit all the time. When you come to Stewart for the state meet, everyone has to wear a 1-piece suit all the time, even when you're there for practice. So no bikini style swimsuits while they're practicing. If your girls have on a tech suit and they want to put a swimsuit top under their tech suit when they're not in the water, that's perfectly fine as long as they change in the locker room. I haven't really heard of supply chain issues, but I don't know if maybe people have just stopped talking about it. But if no one is required to have a team suit, especially now, given everything that's gone on down in the southwest side of the state, some of these kids may not have access to their team suits. They may just be swimming in whatever they have available to them. Be flexible with the team suits. It's actually not even a rule that they have them. It's just suggested that they all be in similar style suits. So if they're not in a team suit, that's absolutely fine. If you think you suspect a violation of the logo size, please talk to the coach. Do not address the athlete. And I haven't heard of this in a while, so hopefully it's not a thing that's happening anymore. Excuse me. But under no circumstances should you ever measure a logo while a student is wearing the suit. So make sure that they take them off if you want to inspect the logo closer. These are just examples of legal suits. None of these have more than one logo. None of them have a logo that's bigger than 2 1/4 square inches, excuse me. And again, logos need to be measured out of the box, not after they have been worn. Excuse me. These are examples of illegal suits. This middle one here, the boys suit, obviously the suits can't extend past the knees. I think all of these have 2 logos on them, all these first 3, which would render them illegal. And then tie-back suits are not allowed for swimming. They can warm up in them, but they cannot compete in them. Caps. There's no designated size for school-related logos. It can be the student's name, it can be the school name, school letters, school logo, school mascot. It can be 2022 Nice High School State Championship swim team. All that is perfectly fine as long as it's school related. What would make this cap on the right-hand side illegal is the logo, the manufacturer logo being on both sides of the cap. It can only be on one side. The logo still has to abide by the manufacturer logo still has to abide by the 2 1/4 square inches. The school logo for the caps, there's not really a size limit. You can only get so much on a swim cap. If you notice that the kids have their club caps on, encourage them to turn it inside out. If they're wearing it underneath another cap, make sure that they know if their top cap is legal, but their top cap comes off and they have an illegal cap underneath, they are wearing an illegal cap. So if they have their club cap on, make sure they flip that inside out. Tape and braces, all of this needs to be approved by our office. So far, I've had one one note for tape. As I receive them from the coaches, I will pass them on to the meet referee for the specific regional or district meet. It will disqualify them from USA Swimming, but it does not disqualify them from FHSAA. So if you have two sets of results, make sure that you're not disqualifying them in the FHSAA database for tape if they have a note. If they don't have a note, then you can either call me, maybe I forgot to send it, although I try to get them out right away so I don't forget, or they'll just have to take it off. Divers, I don't know how much you are involved with the divers, but if divers, they are permitted to wear tape for support. That's not a problem. And this also goes for the neoprene, those sleeves that they get at the drugstore, the real tight ones that can't have compression in them, Velcro braces, any of that stuff needs to be approved by our office. I did have someone ask if their swimmer could swim in a plaster cast. Or some kind of cast, but I never heard back from their coach. If I get it, I will send the note on to you so that you are aware that you've got someone coming to your meet with a tape or brace or cast or what have you. Okay, medical scratches. I'm not gonna read all of this to you. I'm just going to let you know that if an athlete gets sick, the coach can request a medical scratch that takes them out of the rest of the meet until they're cleared to come back. Happens mostly with injuries where a kid will hit the wall and jam his finger and he's being treated by the on-site athletic trainer and misses an event. The athletic trainer that's on site can clear them to come back to the meet. If the kid is getting sick and they just want to scratch for an event, they cannot do that. If a coach tells you that an athlete is in the bathroom throwing up and they're going to miss an event, they are out of the meet unless they are cleared by a medical professional to come back. If there's not an on-site athletic trainer or there's not EMS on site, then the athlete will have to leave the meet to go to like an urgent care or a CARES clinic and get cleared by a doctor or whatever medical professional is at the clinic, and they can come back with a note that same day. They can't, if there is somebody at the meet who also happens to be like a doctor or a nurse or a paramedic, if that person is at the meet in the capacity of an official, they can't be clearing the students to come back. If there's not someone there designated for as a medical professional, the student will have to leave, get cleared, and come back. I don't know if this is still an issue, but again, I don't know if that's something that people just aren't bringing to our attention like they did in the previous years. But if there is somebody with a COVID-19 related clear medical scratch, if someone is out because of COVID-19, that'll be treated like a medical scratch. And they can just send in, if they get cleared to come back, they can just send that to our office, just like they would if the kid had strep throat or the flu or an ear infection. Rulebook, kind of already talked about this. I think that's the link to our rules and publications page that I already showed you. If you have been around for a very long time, then you were around back in the days when we used state entry lists, and I still get people that ask me for state entry lists. We haven't used state entry lists in several years since we went to home campus probably 4 or 5 years ago. So you, as the person running the meet, don't need to worry about any of that. I will take care of that. I will download all the rosters. I will send them to the meet host. I will send them to the person that's putting in the entries. I am working on a way to make this easier for you, and that should hopefully be coming next season. So fingers crossed for that. But just, there used to be a time when the host athletic director had to print out all the state entry lists. Those days are gone. You don't need to worry about any of that. We use home campus now. The rosters have already been entered by everyone's athletic director. They were done back in August. So everyone should be on there. However, kids fall off of them for whatever reason. So if you're putting in entries, and you notice that you have kids on the district entries that are not on the roster, if you cross-check them, which you are not required to do, some people do it out of the kindness of their heart. I know it takes a lot of time. But if you are one of those people that's cross-checking the roster with the district entry list and there are kids that aren't on both, just let me know. Just send me the kid's name, the school name, and put the kids in their events and move on about your business. I don't want you to be held up from doing what you need to do because some kids' physical expired and they aren't on the entry list, or they're not on the home campus roster. It is the school's responsibility to make sure that all of their kids are on the roster. I've sent an email at least once, maybe twice, but definitely once to all the coaches to have them check with their athletic directors to make sure their kids are all on the roster. So they should all be up to date, but sometimes they're not. Sometimes the kids' physical has expired and they just fall off the roster, and we don't catch it in time. So it happens. We catch them, we put them back on, no big deal. But that's the school's responsibility. And if the school ends up swimming a swimmer that is not eligible, then we will deal with the school. You don't have to worry about any of that. Getting ready for districts. Melissa's going to talk more about actually the process of sending in your district entries. But the most important thing that you need from this slide is do not create your own database. I sent out the link to the Dropbox where all the databases are located, and they are in there ready for you to download. Do not create your own, and do not change anything that is already set up in the database. They are already set for you. Don't change anything, especially the school codes. If you send it back with a different school code, that causes a lot of issues with the results. So just grab what's on there and use it the way that it's been configured. This is the link to the Dropbox again. I'll send it out again specifically to all the high-tech operators and the meet directors tomorrow. So if you go to this Dropbox, you will also find all of the 2021 high-tech files. All the high-tech files will end up living in this Dropbox. So after the meet's over, all the results are going to go here. All the backup files, all the things that you need after the events are over. Like for your club teams, will all be in this Dropbox. So I'll send out the link again in case you can't copy it from this slide so that you have it. And you will be able to find everything that you need in this Dropbox. It's organized by districts, regionals, and states. It should all be easy to find. And like I said, everything will end up being dumped into these folders, so it's easy for you to find. All of the 2021 high-tech files, result files, all that stuff is in the state series results folder if you still need it. Okay, meet committee. Like I said, this is an actual NFHS rule. It's not just a suggestion that you have a handful of people around. The NFHS requires you to have a meet committee of 5 members in case some anomaly occurs. This is not a forum for a coach to protest. We don't have protests in high school swimming. This is not a forum to overturn a judgment call. That's not allowed per FHSAA policy and bylaw. And this is not a forum for a rule to be overturned. This is if you have weather moving in, if the lights go off on the pool deck, if something weird happened on a start and you're not sure if you need to re-swim the event, or just some kind of anomaly that's not really addressed in the administrative procedures, then you would call the meet committee together. If there is something specific with one school, you want to have an alternate member so that the school that it's pertaining to is not on the meet committee. So a committee of 5 with one alternate, just like we have at the state meet, is an actual NFHS requirement, more than just a suggestion. The meet committees were supposed to have been established at the district meeting. The district meetings are run, a lot of them are run by the athletic directors, and they don't always get all the way through the agenda, and they may not be familiar with the fact that the meet committee is an NFHS rule, and meet committees are specific to swimming. Like football doesn't have a meet committee. So it's not something that's kind of on their radar, so they may not have done it. I have some minutes, not all of them. The ones that I get back aren't always detailed. So I would suggest checking at your coaches and captains meeting to see who's on the meet committee. If no one's on it, select your meet committee at that meeting. Obviously, because we don't know who's advancing to regionals, there is no meet committee selected for regionals. So again, that will need to be selected at your coaches and captains meeting. All right, and now I'm going to turn this over to Sandy Bean.
Thank you. I guess I need a new name tag now, I guess,
Yes.
is the idea. So we've added some things to this presentation that we haven't had in the past. And that's based on the feedback that we got from you. And we had several meet referees who said, okay, what exactly should I be including in the coaches and captains meeting? Now, are captains required to be in there? No, but I always think it's a benefit. And I will tell you that when I bring together a coaches and captains meeting, I address those issues that need to go to the athletes first, and then dismiss them so that they can go take care of their warm-ups, because that's when this is going on. So the topics I include, and I make sure that the swimmers know this, suits and caps, that they understand that they can't have, like Kelly mentioned, they can't have two logos, or that Nike swoosh can't cover the whole side of their cap. And I also let them know that they can turn their cap inside out. So that's an alternative. That's a solution for them. Also, Sharpies for their suits. NCAA doesn't allow Sharpies. NFHS does. So if they have two logos on their suit, if it's a girl, it's on their chest and their thigh, or if it's a boy, it's on their hip and their thigh. Please remember that if you're going to give them a Sharpie to cross out a logo, it's not on their chest and it's not on their hip. And I think you know why. So make sure that you're only sharpieing out, coloring out the one that's on their thigh. Okay, not on their hip, not on their chest. Kelly also mentioned about doctor's notes. KT tape is a USA Swimming DQ if they're members of USA Swimming. Band-aids covering a wound are not tape. However, you as an official need to judge tape based on whatever kind of compression it might be providing. So if there's a scratch on a swimmer's thigh and 3 inches or 4 inches right around that thigh is taped up, then you know it might be excessive, and you have the opportunity to say, that's too much tape. Let's not do the compression around the thigh. Let's go to the trainer or the first aid person and find an alternative for that. Relay cards at districts and regions, because we don't do prelims and finals, only 4 names are needed. And it helps if they write legibly vertical or horizontal, depending on what kind of card is being given to them. If it's difficult to figure out, are you going horizontal or vertical in the listing of the names, then write 1, 2, 3, 4 on them. You can write 5, 6, 7, 8, but it doesn't matter what names are on that relay card. Those names that you put on and that you swim at districts are not the names that have to advance to regions or states. Once you get to advance to those next meets, you get to choose 4 whole new swimmers if you want. Totally up to you. The names don't advance, only the team. One thing that I always do is I have blank cards at the referee tent. You know, high schoolers are high schoolers. We love them. And they often, you give the card, a coach gives the card to swimmer A, who then says, oh, can you, swimmer C, can you hold my card while I put my, I don't know, my park on or whatever. And then swimmer C sets it down and the whole thing is lost. You know, we're not here to disqualify swimmers. We're here to support them and help them advance on to regionals and states. I always keep spare relay cards at the referee tent. I always ask those people who are briefing the timers, if a team shows up and they can't find their card, flag me down, out I'll walk with a spare card, and they write their 4 names down in the order that they're swimming. And that's it, done and over with. And I would encourage you to do the same. Please remember there are no declared false starts. You cannot no-show an event. If an event is no-showed in the state series final, we call it get on the bus rule. That means you are done. If you no-show your event, you cannot swim another event after that no-show. no relays, no individual events. And even if, we'll say, for instance, they no-show the 100 free, but they already swam the 50 free, they will not admit their results will not be erased from the results. However, they will not advance to regionals in the 50 free. They're on the bus, they're out of the meet, that's it, done and over with. I always explain to coaches and captains, preventing over entries. If you swim 2 individual events, you can only swim 2 relays. If you're in 1 individual event, you can swim 3 relays. The more difficult part is at the state meet. I address the coaches there, and I won't go over it here because it doesn't involve our purpose. Breaks. When and for how long are you going to have a break? Built into the district database is a required 15-minute break after the 50 free. There are many small districts who would also like to build in other breaks. You are certainly allowed to do that. You just need to say when they're going to occur, and they must occur after a boys event, right? Because we go girls, boys for each event, must come after a boys event, and specify how long it's going to be. And then introduce your meet committee members. I would suggest, if you don't know who your meet committee members are, that as a referee, you're at the meet early enough to select the meet committee members that you feel have a good knowledge of the rule, who will be independent and who will be fair, who are looking out for the meet and not just for their team. So that's important. If you have any questions about that, you can always text me or email me to my real name, Melissa, because I don't think Sandy will answer this. Next slide, please. You're muted, Kelly, so I can't hear you.
What are we, 3 years into Zoom? Come on. We were we were asked by the Florida School, the Deaf and Blind, deposit $720 so they can switch interpreters. So I'm gonna just talk for just a second and give them an opportunity to switch interpreters. And I'm sorry that I missed that 5 minutes ago. So hopefully everyone's all right over there.
The best part was they read your lips and I didn't.
There are a couple of questions in the chat that we can address real quick. For sending results, are you just referring to the host for districts or dual meets? Just districts and regionals, not dual meets. I did not realize that we would get to capacity. I know there are people that can't get in to this meeting because we have 100 people on, and that's never happened before. So yes, I am aware that there are people that can't enter. Everybody will get the link to the recording tomorrow. Medical notes must be sent to the FHSA office in advance only. No, you can accept them on the pool deck. If they didn't get a chance to send it to me, you can certainly accept them on the pool deck. Okay, and that's all we got now. So hopefully the folks over at Florida School for Deaf and Blind have switched interpreters, and we also have, hopefully we have the, yeah. Okay, I'll stop talking now.
Okay, so because Adele, who is my favorite roommate ever, at the state meet, I always hear about all the challenges she has. So we decided to go into a little bit more on how you build your district entry database. She does everything. You don't have to do anything. So you go down, you go into the Dropbox, you download the database, you go into, as you can see, export, and then once you've loaded it into HiTech, then you go to export, and then events, as you'll see over on the right, events to team manager, click on that. That will create a file for you. That's the file that you must send to every single coach in your district. You only have to do this for districts. You don't have to do it for regions, because Adele does everything from that point. Now, I know on here it says the host coach must immediately forward the entry file. Some of you might think I'm an A-type personality. I do it myself. I want to make sure that they have my email, that I'm sending them the entry file. And once they do their entries, they know to send it to me, because we had a lot of comments last year about entries not being submitted on time. Come to find out, they're being sent to a host coach who doesn't know they're supposed to forward them on to whoever is doing the entries on HiTech. So I always try to make sure that I'm forward and present and they know that they need to get it to me because I'm going to create the district file, the whole thing for this district meet. So the coach then, of course, imports this entry file from Team Manager, and then they go in to build their entry for their team and their athletes. Next slide, please, Miss Kelly. There we go. Once for the entry for the team is complete, they're going to export it then to me. So in the high-tech operator, I'm the high-tech operator, I'm receiving the file and I'm going to import it. A pop-up warning, as I show in here, will tell you if there's an error in the school's abbreviation. Don't ignore this warning, because this abbreviation is what allows us to go to upload from districts to regions to states. And if that school abbreviation is wrong, and I'll show you in a little bit, if that's wrong, it screws everything up, and I'll show you how to correct it. So it's okay. So in this specific instance, where we know there's a problem and you're importing their file, you're going to click on yes to correct that error. So next one, please, Kelly. If the school name, and I don't mean to pick on Cypress Creek, this is just, it happened to me last year and I had this information, and so this is what I'm using. If the school name on the import file was accurate, then it's great. If it's not, and you can see down below, see how Cypress Creek put in their abbreviation CCHS? That's not in the database. That's not the code that we use to advance Cypress Creek athletes from districts to regions. You'll see right below it, we use CYCR. And so you can send it back to the coach, but I guarantee the coach is not going to have any idea what you're talking about. But you high-tech operators are so smart that I know you will figure this out. So I'm going to walk you through it a little bit. So slide. So here's how you correct the wrong abbreviation. First, you double click on the school with the correct abbreviation. In this case, it was CYCR. Okay, that's the abbreviation we want. This pop-up screen is going to come up. You won't only want those 3 fields of information: the team abbreviation, the full team name, and the short team name. I take a picture of it. Then I come back out to the team database and I go to the school with the wrong abbreviation. That's now CCHS. I double click there and I change all this information. I change it CCHS to CYCR. I put in the proper full team name. I put in the proper short team name. Doesn't matter if you leave the LSC in there, whether it's Florida, Florida Gold Coast, Southeastern, whatever, that doesn't matter. I change that. Then, and now here is the tricky part, you have to go in and delete the old CYCR. So another little trick I also do is sometimes I know, because in the CCHS, okay, this is complicated. The CCHS, which was the wrong abbreviation, has the LSC code in there. I know that's the one I want to keep. I've changed CCHS to CYCR. They have the LSC code in there. And I'm like, okay, LSC code, that's the one I want to keep. The other one I'm deleting. So if that doesn't make sense to you and you want me to go over this again later, I will. I'll even give you my phone number and I'll help you through this. This is the easiest way to do it. Trust me. I made so many mistakes that, you know, I've learned from it all. Okay, so you can go to the next one. Now, every time you run, you import a school's files, you have to run the exception report. And you're going to do the exception report based on that there are no more than 4 entries in an individual event by team, and that you're not exceeding the maximum events by athlete. And later on, Adele is going to show you this on slides 28 through 31, not that you know which is 28, 31, but we're going to go over that in a little bit. If you find an over entry, it's gonna, if you see no data found, then that means you're all good. You can continue on. But if you see that there's an over entry, you need to print out the report immediately, send it to the coach and say, you need to correct this. Okay, and this has to be done as soon as the entries come into you. So don't forget, you have to run 2 types of exception reports. If everything is okay, great. If it's not okay, you need to get together with the coach. And that's why your contact with the coach is so important, that you're not always going through the host school, that they have their ability to contact you. Next slide, please.
Actually, if I can jump in real quick, because
Sure.
I'm monitoring the chat and kind of direct or answering.
Oh, okay.
Directly. But there's one question that is actually, it's not a dumb question at all. It's actually a very good question, especially if you are new to the state of Florida. We do not use qualifying times here in the state of Florida. What qualifies your students for districts is that minimum participation requirement, which I think is being waived, but we'll get to that later. If your students participate in 5 meets throughout the regular season, they qualify for districts. You can put them in. You can put in 4 kids from your team in each event, not 10, just 4. And then in 1 relay. So if you're new to Florida, I know they do things differently in other states, but that's how we do it here in the state. So good question.
Well, and it's important also to know that if you're using Team Manager and you're uploading your entries into Meet Manager, you'll get an error message, because Adele builds into those databases that you cannot exceed 4 individuals per event, and an individual cannot exceed 2 individual events. You'll get a pop-up warning. We have had people who've ignored those pop-up warnings and try to put 10 swimmers into the 50 free, and we've taken care of that. Now, so you've communicated with the coaches, you've sent them a confirmation of all their entries, they've gone over it, they've looked at it. So within 48 hours of that entry deadline, you're all set, everything is ready. You've done your exception reports. Now, within 72 hours, now you've got all your data corrected, you're going to send a psych sheet to each of the coaches. Once you send a psych sheet, because you've already confirmed with all of the coaches that their entries are correct, this is what they want, they've responded to you, ideally. Once that psych sheet is created and you sent it all out to coaches, it's done, it's over. There's no changing, there's no switching out. You can correct names, you can correct spelling of names, but you cannot change the entries. You cannot switch swimmers in and out. It's done and it's over with. Now, let me just mention one thing about psych sheets. For all divers, there should not be a score there, right? They accrue so many points for dives. 350 points, 148 points. You type in the run menu NP, which means no points. That means everybody is judged equally going into districts, and they are randomly selected for their order of dives based on no points. Also, swimmers' names in relays should not be listed on a psych sheet. We show that on the next page. So there's no strategizing, shall I say, that one team is showing who their relay swimmers are going to be and another doesn't, and they manipulate, how they're going to do their entries. None of that. No relay individual names on the psych sheet. And I'll show you how to do that on the next slide. So on the psych sheet, you go in, you select psych sheet, score it all, line for results. Now, if you can see over on the far right, see where it says relay athlete names and it says top how many? on the bottom right. Do you see that? Put 0 in there. Once you put 0 in there, no names will show up. Is everybody good with that? Awesome. Let's go to the next slide. There's, like I mentioned before, there's one break built into the district database. This is a required 15-minute break after the 50 freestyle. And for many districts, it's already a long meet and they don't need any more breaks than that. However, districts can consent on a change if they want to build more breaks in there because they're a 2.5-hour meet, then they can do that. The region database includes that mandatory 15-minute break after the 50 free, but also includes a 10-minute break after the 200 free relay, and then a 5-minute break before the 4 free relay, right? So we're coming out of the breaststroke and we're going into the 4 free relay, just in case people are doubling up, and just in case they're going from the 2 free relay into the backstroke. Then they get a little bit of a break, just in case they're coming out of the breaststroke and going into the 4 free relay, they get a little bit of a break there. If as a district, the coaches consent to wanting that kind of break, go for it, all works. You want, you know, we put in here 10 and 5 minutes is what we do for regions. If at the district meet, you want 10 minutes before the 4 free relay, you are welcome to do that, okay? But everybody needs to agree. I'm not saying it's a majority rule. I'm not saying that 10 out of 10 coaches have to agree to that. You're keeping track, right, Kelly, of when I'm done? And okay, thank you. Next one, please.
Actually, you are done.
Okay.
That was next, but I did have a question because I think I have been interpreting this wrong. So
Okay.
I thought the point of the psych sheet was for coaches to check for mistakes. Is that not right?
No,
Okay.
ideally, the high-tech operator should have already sent the school their a PDF copy, PDF
So
of
that's
their entries, and that's where the mistakes are done. The psych sheet is to let the coaches have an idea of where their swimmer lies competitively in a particular race.
Okay.
So once that psych sheet's out, done, over, no changes allowed.
Okay. Okay. Yes. So this
Okay,
is
Sandy's done.
Sandy's done for now.
For now. So now it's me to talk about relay cards. This is one of the continues year after year to be one of the biggest issues for causing a delay in results. And I know it's repetitive for those that have heard it year after year, but we can never impress how important this is. So they must have their full legible name. Names can be listed depending on which type of, as Melissa previously said, vertical or horizontal, which type of relay card is printed by the high-tech operator for the specific meet. You can put as many as 8 names, no need to. Only the first 4 are going to be charged with the swim. The coaches or swimmers can make changes on the card up to the point the long whistle is blown for the heat in which that relay is competing. Because they're timed final meets, a coach only needs to write down 4 names, but can add a 5th to the relay card prior to the long whistle for the heat in which that relay is competing, so that athlete could swim. They up until that whistle, they can switch the athletes in the order of relay. Next slide, please. Oops, hang on, I can't see the slide. Let me fix that. Okay. Oh, these are just examples of, often I found that the coaches will have the athletes write out the relay cards. Sometimes it's great because they have beautiful handwriting. Other times you get, they know who Kathy, Debbie, and Liz are, but the high-tech operator doesn't. So, of course, put full names. The third one down is very confusing when it comes back to the high-tech operator. I look at that and like, okay, I think I know which was the first swimmer. I think I know who was the second. It has to be really clear, as in the fourth example, which clearly shows the order that they swam in 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is also important. It is critical to put them in the correct order in which they swam on the relay. Next slide. Oh, exception reports. Yes. So there are 2 types, as Melissa previously said, that need to be run before the meet. You know, as she said, as Melissa said, when you're importing the entries, to run both types of exception report, and also at after the 400 free, make sure all the names are in. If there's an over entry, and sometimes it's an error, you know, they genuinely put the wrong person's name on the relay card, or it could be a 2 sisters and they put the wrong one, and whatever. There's many reasons, but immediately bring it to the attention of the meet referee and make sure that scores are not released until that over entry issue is involved. Next slide, please. So this just shows the high-tech operator specifically how to run the exception report. As Melissa said, the databases that are given already have that specific criteria, the maximum, the entries, the individual entries, and the relay entries. They're already plugged in, but you know, as you go there to run the exception report, make sure that those numbers are correct for total, 2 individual, 3 relays, and be sure to also click on both sessions, the diving and the swimming, because there are a few athletes who swim and dive. So just be sure to click both of those. And then when you hit create report, it will then show either no data, which is great, that's what you want to see, or you will get a report that you would then either bring to, if it's prior to the meet, you're going to bring it to the attention of the coach from whom you received the file, or if it's at the end of the meet, you're going to bring it to the referee's attention, sorry. Next slide. Oh, I guess the next slide dealt with making sure you do too. Okay, I got ahead of myself. So, yeah. I guess I'm done because I think I don't.
I mean, we can do this together, because I'm not. Do you know, like, when you get the database back and you're looking at it, do you know when someone is scratched? Like, is there something?
Yes.
Okay, please stop doing that, please.
Mm-hmm.
So the 2 things that make it where Adele and I, mostly Adele, I'm just moral support for Adele, who actually does all the work. So we wait for all the databases from every meet that we have going on that day. We wait sometimes until the wee hours of the morning for all the databases to come in. Adele has a very meticulous process that she goes through, and 2 things that keep her from being able to complete the results, get them posted, and advance the swimmers to regionals are when there are no names in the relays, and then when there are scratches in the database. So please do not scratch anyone out of the database. If they were a no-show for their event, list them as a no-show. If something weird happened, when you email back the backup, when you email us the backup, if something weird happened, include all that information in the body of the email, and that helps Adele to isolate the problem and fix it.
Yes.
So that you don't, please stop scratching off the database.
Yeah.
It really makes a very long night.
Sorry, I'm talking over you. I couldn't agree more that the information in an email, I've written that down, that is so critical. Some people will write me a whole novel. Great. I don't mind to read. It can give me invaluable information so then I'm not trying to chase down the high-tech operator or coach or referee or whoever after the meet. So yes, please give me as much information as possible.
Yeah. So all this stuff has already been gone over. Again, please don't scratch anyone out of the database. A no-show is considered a failure to appear, which is a violation of policy 10.2. 10.3, policy 10 somewhere. So that is an actual FHSA policy violation that schools can be fined for. So if somebody doesn't show up, if there is an explanation, please let me know, and then we don't fine them. If kids just don't, like, they're just like, yep, not feeling it. We had a kid last year, 2 years ago, who just left the state meet. He qualified for finals and he pieced out. You can't do that. So if there's any anomaly at all, please make sure that Adele knows, but do not scratch kids out of your database. And if they don't show up for one event, please don't let them in to a later event.
Mhm.
That will really cause some heartburn. Again, we've already been over all this. Don't change the abbreviations. Everything's already set up for you at those databases are in the Dropbox, are already set up, ready for you to go.
I also wanted to add there too, Kelly, that, Melissa said to contact her. Please feel free to contact me too. If you're having, as the high-tech operator, if you're having an issue or, importing files, I'm happy to help.
Okay.
And if I can't answer, which sometimes I cannot, always leave a voicemail and I will always call you back.
So all of these slides, or this particular slide, just has to do with swimmers and like athletes that are swimmers and divers, or when swimming and diving doesn't take place in the same day. And essentially this slide in a nutshell is that it does not matter if an athlete is a swimmer, diver, and they don't show up for diving, and that's 2 days after the swim portion, that kid didn't show up. It's just like it happened on the same day. So if your swimming and diving is taking place at a different day at a different location, it's really important that the dive referee communicate that information to the meet referee, and vice versa if diving is happening after. So it's in the context of no-shows and results and all that jazz, it's just like it takes place on the same day, events 1 through 24 in order, even if they are separated out in person. Information from, yep, I already talked about that. The meet referee should be keeping track of kids that are no-shows so that Adele can remove them. You don't scratch them, we remove them. I say we, Adele removes them. Again, if it's a COVID-19 situation, let me know. We'll treat that as a medical scratch. I'll follow up with the school on that. This is just saying that you list them as a
Yeah,
no-show.
it just shows. Do you want me to take over, Kelly?
Yeah, because my dad's calling me and that's weird.
Okay, all right. So this just shows how to show the athlete as a no-show, not a scratch, to specifically type in there NS. I think the next slide will show us there's a penalty no-show. That's not what we want. Yes, do not use that no-show penalty. Don't use that. Just put NS. It's not a DQ. It's a no-show. Next one.
Okay, it always makes me nervous when my dad calls me and it's not Sunday. Okay, so just some general information. Again, this is just if you are a new coach or new to hosting or new to the state, we allow non-scoring heats during the regular season, especially for like the 50 free, I think is the most common one. That is not allowed during the state series. So come districts and regionals, we do not allow additional non-scoring heats. I will send this out to everybody. It's also in the Dropbox where in the same Dropbox where the databases are in a different folder. The NFHS has established guidelines for potential equipment malfunction. So I'll make sure that everybody has that available to them should something weird happen. And I'm going to let Melissa talk about this DQ coding.
Awesome. I was writing down some notes because as we were talking, I was thinking, oh, we should have included this. Oh, we should have included that, but I'll do that at the end. Okay. So DQ code list, when you're putting in DQ codes, Adele loves to see DQ codes. And believe it or not, when you send your backup into swimming@fhsaa.org, I download it and look at it also, because I want to see what kind of DQ codes are going on out there. I just want to see if we're like over DQing for one kind of thing or what's going on. So it's very easy, instead of going to that drop-down box and trying to sort out, past vertical towards the breast on the finish of the backstroke or whatever it might be. If you go to reports, administrative DQ code list, create that report, and you have it adjacent to where you're operating your high tech, and you have a DQ code, you can look at it and say, oh, that's 2M as in Mary, and you just type in 2M and there it is, it appears, and you don't have to go into the drop-down box to find it. Really easy to do. Next slide, please. So this was interesting. 2 years ago, I started going through some of the DQs, and I found out in high school, we were disqualifying people for non-continuous turning action, delay initiating pull, or delay initiating turn. Guess what? In high school, those are not rules. High school is very benevolent to the swimmer. So once the swimmer is between the flags and the wall at which they're turning, they can turn over to their breast and kick or glide in. And even though in USA Swimming, it looks to us like a non-continuous turning action, maybe a delay initiating pull, delay initiating turn, in high school swimming, that is not a disqualification. So the only time that 2I, 2S, 2T should show up in a database is if you're sending that back up to Florida Swimming, Florida Gold Coast Swimming, or Southeastern Swimming, because they're observed sanction meets. Those things shouldn't be used. And so, I kind of look over those things, and if I see funny things going on, I might give you a call and say, so explain to me this, how did this happen? And please don't think that I'm after the meet referee or anything like that. It's just that I'm trying to get a handle of what's really going on. Did by accident the high-tech operator accidentally hit the wrong code or hit the wrong swimmer? So based on this stuff, it's something that I'm going to say to you, meet referees, you need to make detailed notes on your heat sheet and bring those heat sheets home with you, just in case I call you for a friendly chat, which also Adele would really love, that whoever is running high tech and is sending her the backup or the meet referee person, you bring home everything. You bring home all the Colorado printouts. You bring home all the relay cards, everything that comes to you. Bring it home with you. Do not leave it locked in the school office on a Saturday afternoon, and then you can't get to it until Monday. So somebody, whether it's the meet referee or whether it's the high-tech operator, has to be responsible and bring all that stuff home. I think I still have things in the garage going back several years. So, but bring it home just in case Adele has questions. It's really, really important. I have a couple other things, but we'll go. Is the next one? Oh, declared false starts. Guess what? There's no such thing as declared false start or a delay of meet. If in high school swimming, the swimmer is not at the blocks ready to swim their event, they're off chit-chatting with, Frida or Wilma or Fred or Barney or whomever, that is considered a no-show. I'm pretty lenient on that. I walk all the way out to the blocks, because don't forget, this is a get on the bus violation. This is the end of their season. I'll walk out there, ask the timers, hey, have you seen Fred? Is he around? Oh yeah, his goggles broke. He ran to go get them. Okay, I'm all in for that. I'm gonna cut him some slack. Where is Fred? Oh, he's right over there. Okay. But if Fred never showed up and we're ready to start that heat in that event, it's a no-show and you're done. Okay, so no declared false start and no delay of meet. Boy, I sound really mean, don't I? But I do cut them slack. Do I get brownie points for that?
It evens out. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So fun story. We had a meet one year where we were not notified that there was a problem. This was pre-COVID, so it was many years ago. We were not notified there was a problem. We processed the results like we did for everything else and went on about our business. I was copied on an email by a coach asking about something about her kids, her relay team wasn't showing up on the results. And they were like, your relay team wasn't there. Long story short, the timing pad was at the bottom of the pool, and it was like a lot of things went wrong. And we had to wait. The athletic director took all of the paperwork home or locked it in the school after the meet was over. So we couldn't process results for a whole region because we had to wait until Monday when the school opened up and they could fax us all of the papers. So it is very helpful if somebody, and that's why I request that district information from you relentlessly, because if something goes wrong, then we need to know who to get a hold of. Adele, I do have, somebody sent in a question, and it's, if an athlete is reported will not attend district or regional in advance prior to event seating, can we mark scratch to avoid empty lanes or heats?
I would say
No.
no.
No, they're a no-show.
Perfect. Okay. This is the high-tech post-meet checklist.
Yep. So I tried to, like, on the receiving side of things, I tried to put together a quick checklist that if the high-tech operator would please take the 5 or 10 minutes at the end of the meet. I know you want to get out of there, bad weather. I've been there many times. Just run through this very quick checklist, or do it as you go, you know. Every single one of them will just save so much time. If, you know, the exception reports is the big one. And I will add to what you, I mean, they can read what these, yes, exactly.
And I'll
what
send
the
it
last
out to
3
everybody
slides.
also.
Yes. And it seriously take 5 tops 10 minutes to do this. And it would save an incredible amount of time at the other end. And what I will say is that if I have missing relay names, that's a big one. The first person I'm going to reach out to is the high-tech operator. It would be my preference that the high-tech operator takes the paperwork home with them. I know that's not always feasible. I'm just telling you, my chain of command would usually be approach the high-tech operator, then I'll be going to the meet referee, then, you know, the host or whatever. But if the high-tech operator could take it with them, that would be the most helpful to me.
Excellent. And that, 3 minutes.
Okay, I do have, are we good with this? I do have a couple of things one question that got sent to me. Can we please put DQ slips and relay takeoff slips in the Dropbox
They are in
for
there.
people to use? Okay.
Yep.
Another important thing to know is that USA Swimming IDs, obviously athlete IDs have changed now. They
Oh,
are
yeah, I was
no
supposed to ask you about
longer birth date and name based, which means it's incredibly important that the spelling of the name, last name, and legal first name, not an abbreviation, not a nickname, are in the name file, because that's how it's going to get matched up into SWIMS 3.0 going forward. So it's really important that the names are spelled correctly. Thus, if you're running high-tech and a parent comes up to you and says, Melissa is spelled Melisa, and you have it with 2 S's, it's important to go in there and correct that prior to sending it to your USA Swimming office. So that's important for you to be able to know that. No, Kathy, you do not have to use paper DQ slips, but I would highly suggest it based on the fact that this is a penalty meet. You know, it's not like a regular USA Swimming meet where, okay, they're disqualified and you've got it written down. If they get disqualified in districts, they're not advancing. So I think I would want to have my paperwork there to support that. The other thing is working with the diving referee. If they are a diver and also a 50 freestyler, or a diver and your relays, and don't forget a diver could swim in 3 relays. because they're in one individual event. If they're in a swimming event as well, then they're back down to 2 relays. But work with the diving referee. Generally speaking, they swim in their swimming event, but then the dive referee will allow them, and this is if diving is going on at the same time as swimming, the diving referee will allow them to make up that dive at a point of their choice. So make sure that if you see that you've got people in both swimming and diving, that you're able to work things out.
I just wanted to show everybody this, not this, real quick. Oh, never mind.
I will tell you, Matt, I see this. She told me it was just first name and last name, but if we want to put birthday in there, then that's okay. But she told me just first name and last name, but legal first name, not nickname.
Okay. So in this Dropbox, so you have, I think it's under 2021 information. There are your DQ slips, relay takeoff slips, the dive schedule. All of this is also in home campus if you have access to that. So I will create a folder for 2022 and put in the high-tech, the post-meet high-tech checklist and the timing, the thing that the NFHS sent out for timing. So I'll make sure that you have all that, and I'll send out the link to the Dropbox so that everybody has that. Yeah, so I just wanted to show everybody that real quick. And I did get one other question. The minimum, how many regular season meets to qualify for districts? It's 5, but I know that that's going to be waived. I don't know that it's been, the official statement has been sent out yet, but I know that our office is drafting a statement for individual sports. So bowling, swimming and diving, cross country. I think that's it. They're going to, because of so many districts were impacted by this storm all the way across the state of Florida. There's a lot of flooding in different areas. Like there's a lot of reasons why a lot of people in a lot of places aren't going to meet that 5 meet minimum. So they did make the decision to waive that. I will not be in the office tomorrow. I have to go to an internship fair. So I don't know if I'll be around when the official statement goes out, but check with your athletic directors because it will go to them from our PR specialist. I've not, the meet location is going to change because of the hurricane. I only know of one so far. I have not talked to many people down in Southwest Florida, Lee, Collier, Sarasota, but the people that I have talked to think that they're going to be okay to host. So the only person that has told me that they cannot host is Hardy High School. And we should be set to relocate that particular district meet tomorrow. We're working on that. So that's the only one that I know of as of right now that's definitely going to change. To my knowledge, nothing else has changed. And
Kelly,
I will obviously let everyone know immediately.
Kelly, given that, of course, the databases that are in the Dropbox already obviously have the venues and hosts that were slated originally to be there. You know, if they want to contact me about changing that information or just go ahead, you know, if it's something different, have them feel free, high-tech operators feel free to make those revisions.
Okay. And I will of course let you know also. It's just there's 2 different locations. Like we haven't finalized anything yet. So that's why like I haven't
Understood.
Yeah, to my knowledge, that's the only one that's changed so far. Any other questions? I don't see anything. If you think of any questions after we log off, please feel free to email.
Kelly, I had one.
Yes.
This is Bill Schaefer at Jesuit Academy.
No.
I know that Cape Coral is going to be hosting our region down there. Since we're driving 2.5 hours, if they're still going to host, which I'm glad that they can and are willing to do that. Is there any way we could change the start time to the meet so we're not traveling at 5:30 a.m.
That's-
Because I know there are not going to be any hotels available down there. That's what I'm just.
I don't have, I have to talk to Diane because obviously that would be a facility. If the facility is available, that would be up to them.
Just so we could consider that, if they're gonna still host, just the start of it, of a region meet, because we're a region's a far away.
Understand.
Yep,
I understand.
thank you.
Yep. Um,
Looks like we're all good.
yes, team manager 8.0 is the one that you have. So whoever confirm the product need is a swim team manager 8.0. That is correct. Diver no showed out of all swimming on, oh, if a diver no shows on Wednesday, yes, they are out of all swimming on Saturday. And I will send the link to the Dropbox to everybody again tomorrow, along with the link to the recording for this and some of the documents that we've referenced. And I am happy to hang out if you have questions. Otherwise, that is all that I have for you this evening, and I appreciate you taking time to be with us. And we will see you soon. Hopefully
Thank you,
soon.
Kelly.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Stay safe, stay
Mhm.
dry-ish.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Kelly.
Yes.
Hi. Oh, there I am. I'm Sean. I'm in the Gainesville area and I'm second year swimming and diving official. And I saw your email. I'm doing this couple districts this year, locally, semi-locally, whatever. And I saw your email about going down the states. I'd be interested in doing some state things if needed. But I would probably need a little bit of guidance. So like, don't stick me as a meet referee in states. I know you never would, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Melissa is our state meet referee, so she actually selects her own crew.
Okay.
Did you get the link to the
I did, and whether or not I get selected, which I don't know if I would, and that's okay. I would be interested in maybe getting her information to come down and be a shadow on the learning experience of a higher level,
yeah, I can
'cause, okay, that would be great.
I'll send you Melissa's contact information, then you guys can talk and speak directly.
Okay,
Yeah,
Perfect.
Sean, I'll talk to you
Dean
anytime.
is still here.
so you didn't see are you the Sue? Are you the non-Sue? Are you Sandy Bean?
Sandy Bean, that's
I changed it earlier. I said also not Sandy Bean
I
for
saw
my
that.
name. I don't know if you saw that or not. So yeah, I'd be interested, I'll fill out the form per se for the dates, but I'd be interested in coming down. I don't think, and fit in where I can fit in and help out and I mean, I've obviously the meets here in town, you know how they run here. I've done it all. I actually had to, as my second time being a starter meet referee, I actually had to teach another starter for her first time. So I'm like, well, thrown to the fire, right? Luckily, I've officiated for many years and I'm not shy on that. But my point is, I'm willing to come down and help, but
awesome.
and as a turn ref or stringing up lines or whatever, doesn't matter to me. So
Awesome. Thank you, Sean.
no problem. Thank you guys, ladies.
I saw somebody had their hand up. Oh, Adrienne, did you have it up? Yeah.
I just wanted to confirm that I heard correctly. I'm actually new to Florida. I came down from Connecticut 15 years. So I just wanted to confirm that the relays, the team advances, not the actual relay. If they're in the relay for districts, they don't necessarily have to be in the relay for regions or states.
Exactly.
I just wanted to confirm that.
Good job.
Yes, you are correct.
And Christy?
Christy
Yes.
has her hand up.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I'm new to 3A. I came from 4A. So I don't know if you guys have my emails because I'm not getting your emails. I'm kind of getting them passed through other coaches. Can I, I'm representing Freedom High School.
Oh, yeah, I don't, who did I talk to? Who's your other coach?
Coach, right?
Catherine. Yep, she emailed me, or she was messaging me, so.
Okay, because neither one of us were getting it and I was getting it through other coaches. So we just wanted to verify our emails were being updated with it.
Oh, probably not. Freedom Tampa, probably not. I'll, did I read that you also have a new athletic director over there as well?
Yeah, see, I'm not a teacher. I'm a police officer, so I'm not familiar with who they're putting in that position or anything about the school itself. So I'm trying to get information as much as I can so I can get, because I'm the high tech person for our team.
Okay. I got you. Yeah.
So I would need the shell. And then is there an email who I can send it to? Like once because we usually use Eva Gronk over here. Is there an email for Melissa or Adele who I need it,
Well,
who it gets
well,
sent to?
Who's your district host?
I believe it's Sebring. I'm sorry, Sebring.
Sebring? So you would once you fill out your team manager, they send you and you do your entries, you would send it to the high tech operator who's running the meet at Sebring.
Oh, it's not one of you guys who are in
No,
this
no,
meeting.
no.
Oh, okay. I understand now. So I did get an email from that Sebring host, so I'll just reach out.
There
to
you
them.
go.
Okay,
That's it.
okay,
That's your go-to person.
okay. This is very informative. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'll get your email situation straightened out first thing tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
Jamie Wars
Hey,
up
Jamie.
in Childs in Tallahassee.
Hi.
I talked to Maggie Crutchfield, our coach Maggie, while you guys were discussing things. We're hosting districts. She had a question about the committee members.
Uh-huh.
She said she knows we've always done that with states. She didn't remember us doing that with districts in the past. Who should the 5 committee members be? We have 7 teams.
5 of the 7.
Okay.
It's not just people who are familiar with the rules.
Okay.
With the NFHS rules.
Okay.
Yeah.
And actually tell Maggie she should choose 6 of the 7.
Right. 6.
But
Sorry.
no 2 can come from the same school.
Okay. 6 of the 7, no 2 from same school.
Right.
All
And
right.
one person in that case of 6 is an alternate.
Okay.
And you won't have any problem with the coaches on that meet committee volunteering to be an alternate because they don't want to make the decisions.
That's sort of what I was thinking. All right. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. You're
Sure.
welcome.
Yeah, I've got a question. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know how to raise my hand. This is Chris Emick from Bishop Moore High School. You mentioned Hardy County might not host district meet. For transportation purposes, are there any idea where that may be going to?
Say that again. I'm sorry. I was distracted.
Hardy County, you mentioned Hardy?
Yeah.
Because the storm is not hosting district.
Right.
Any idea where that may be relocated to?
So I was talking to Lauren from Lake Buena Vista,
Uh-huh.
who was going to reach out to Rob and see if they wanted to work on it together. And I heard from McKeel and Lake Region. So whoever secures the venue first. So right now, both parties have reached out to the venues in their area. And so I'm just whoever comes back to me first and says, yep, we're secured and ready to go. As
Gotcha.
of the last time I talked to Dan Talbot, who's the county AD over in Polk County, McKeel and Lake Region were talking to Rowdy Gaines Pool, and they have the same dates available that Hardy had established. So if they can get, and I don't know if the Rosin Center was available on those dates. Lauren was still checking last time I talked to her.
Okay.
So if Rowdy is available on the same dates as was established by Hardy, then we would go there because it's less change.
Perfect. And the dates you have for regions on your site, are those accurate?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so our region 2 is down in IRCC,
Sure,
2A2.
probably.
Gotcha. All right. Hey, appreciate y'all's help.
Yes, sir. You're welcome.
Take care.
Anyone else got any questions?
Yeah, we have several people still on.
Yeah. All right, there's nothing in the chat. So yeah, we will go ahead and sign off unless anyone has anything else.
All right, ladies.
Yes.
Well, it's been fun for another year.
Yes. Have a
Adele,
great-
sleep well in the air conditioning.
Oh my gosh, yes, yes. Thank you.
All right, we will talk soon, guys.
All right,
All
thank
right.
you.
Night.
Good night,
Thanks.
everyone.
Night,
Thank you for
guys.
being here.